My name is Aaron Ladd, host of the Chiefs Squad Show here on the Locked On Podcast Network, and Kansas City enters the most pivotal 5-day, 2-game stretch of their season.
I'm Darren Smith. Patrick Mahomes has already lost his chance for the MVP. Now will he lose his chance for the NFL playoffs?
I'm Ryan Tracy. You got to expand your two-word vocabulary and have a game plan that has contingencies in it.
And I'm JC Pearson. Is this another must-win for the Chiefs in order to get to the playoffs? I don't think so. I'll tell you why.
Chiefs Kingdom, stand up. It's the Chiefs Squad. Everything Kansas City Chiefs every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from Arrowhead Stadium, the way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Squad up. The Chiefs Squad Show starts now.
All right, welcome into another episode of the Chiefs Squad Show here on the Locked On Podcast Network. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Is it a must-win game? JC Pearson will tell us that after another must-win game for the Chiefs against the Broncos. But is Patrick Mahomes to blame for some of the offensive issues we've seen for Kansas City? We will discuss that, as well as the game plan for Kansas City. Is it too narrow? Maybe we widen it out with Ryan Tracy's help, as well as looking at the potential MVP front runner as a running back. See what we did there? Running back for the Indianapolis Colts. This show is not possible without us, and of course, you as well at home, the fans, the audience. Please like, comment, subscribe, all those things. Hit the hype button. They make our content more visible for a larger audience. Our everydayers appreciate you all for making us your first listen here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Let's just jump right into it because Darren Smith is doing his little shimmy. He's excited, but he wasn't as excited the last time we hopped on these mics, and he was happy to blame.
What are you talking about?
He was happy to blame the quarterback of these Kansas City Chiefs for some of the ineptitude that we've seen on offense. And this is what we want to start here. I posited this in the chat, and now we'll start our episode here on Wednesday with it. Patrick Mahomes and the offense had two opportunities to take the lead against the Denver Broncos, tied in the final fourth quarter with the final drive was 19-all, and then they were leading 19-16, an opportunity to really put it away and gain some ground in the AFC West. They were unable to do so. I'm wondering if it's play style, is it game plan? No matter what it is, Darren Smith, are we not heaping enough blame on Patrick Mahomes when it comes to some of the shortcomings of this offense?
We? What you mean we? I mean, maybe I am, but it's a, and to the extent Andy Reid in this presser on Monday, it sounded like he was throwing Patrick underneath the bus and running over it and then putting it in reverse and going back over it, according to, Chiefs Kingdom. Look, Patrick, to a man, will always fess up and always take the blame, whether he is to blame or not. Hell, a couple years ago when the wide receivers were dropping passes, Patrick was blaming it, blaming himself. So I'm not going to say he's all to blame or he's too much, because he'll accept full blame on himself. But I will say, to Andy's point, Andy said Monday that they called some run plays, some RPOs or whatever, but Patrick decided to throw it instead of running. And Patrick, in his presser today, says that they do need to run the ball more to keep the defense honest. Now, again, saying it is one thing, executing it is another.
You're not wrong. You could put a plate of ribs in front of me. I'm still going to eat them. That's the way that's going to happen. You can't tell Patrick, here, you can do whatever you want. You choose. He's going to throw the ball. This comes down to coaches being coaches and making sure you call run plays, not run options.
Well, but the thing is with the RPOs is you don't just arbitrarily decide that I'm going to throw it. There's a read that you're supposed to read. And if this guy does one thing, you hand the ball off. If he does another thing, well, now we throw it. So it's not like, if it's a true RPO, you don't just say, well, I'm going to decide if I want to hand it off or throw it. There's a specific read that tells you which one you're going to do. And that's why Andy said, if we want to run, if we want specific runs and want to run more, then we got to call specific run plays and not RPOs, because a defense, based on what that read is, can take that run.
But also Patrick does audible as well at the line. So,
and I don't think this is just an RPO conversation. I know RPOs are part of the conversation, especially specific to what the press conference was on this Wednesday as JC Pearson finishes up his last point. The deep balls has been a conversation. And then we even talked about on this platform before, keeping the offense on schedule when the run game isn't able to kind of have the same balance, or there isn't that same balance as far as run and pass. The intermediate game and the deep balls, I just feel like there was a point in time in which we were giving so much praise to 15. He's the MVP front runner. He's been able to do so much. He's the straw that stirs the drink as far as the offense. When they're not able to get those scores at the end of the game, or when they're falling short, why aren't we having the same conversation? Ryan, am I being too unfair there?
No, I think you're absolutely on par there. You can stir the drink, but if the ice all melts, it's still no good. It takes all the parts of that drink to make it taste good. And that means you got to be able to run. You got to be able to run block. And I don't mean just two guys. I mean all five of them. And every now and then you got to swallow your pride and say, you know what? I don't want to do this, but I need to do this for the sake of this offense, for the sake of this team.
Mahomes has never been a check down guy, JC. Can you coach that into his game?
Yeah, you can. I mean, you can talk about it. But this team, when they were super explosive and going down the field, obviously you had Tyreek Hill, who super explosive, and then you had a prime Travis Kelce also, and you couldn't double both guys. And and Tyreek was, he can catch a short one and just turn it into a huge gain. We don't have those guys, it doesn't seem. Very rarely do we see, yak yards after the catch that are huge. Now, obviously, Travis did and scored last week on a short one where he broke a tackle, but we don't see those huge ones like we used to see in the past. And now we're just relying on, just heaving the ball up down the field, and, maybe they catch it, maybe they don't. And, that's something that Patrick was talking about. Maybe he needs to give those guys some more opportunities down the field. But, if you're not doing all the other things to make those safeties creep up a little bit, then they're just going to be sitting back there. So, you got to have a semblance of a running game, whether it's actually handing it off or short passes, quick screens, something that makes those guys creep up a little bit.
And Aaron, I want to push back just a little bit on what you said about Patrick not checking down. You got to remember the year that they traded Tyreek, when they brought, obviously MVS and those players in, that was his MVP year. He was checking down because he was spreading the ball around. It wasn't just like he was just finding one receiver, throwing it, and they were making things happen. Patrick was actually going through his progressions because he was trying to find open receiver to make the big play. So I push back on that. But the other thing I would say is that, and I remember talking to Patrick after one of the games where, was asking about how many points he felt, this offense should be able to score each week or whatever. And, he said he didn't want to put a number on it, but he said that he felt that they can score every time. I think that is Patrick's biggest problem, is that he's always looking for a home run every single drive that he's out there, versus just letting the game come to him, and instead of just, going with the flow of the game. He's always trying to look for the home run ball. Now, not saying that's a bad thing, but that's just what he's been doing.
You got to keep a lookout for it, right? Because if it's there, you got to be able to take it. But pushing for it or chasing it is what it feels like has been going on for the last few weeks, at least.
Yeah.
I got him at 64.5 completion percentage, which would be the lowest of his career so far in the NFL. I don't want to, and I don't want to like blame the guy and run the bus over him, as you said, Darren. Like, I think they're putting a lot on his plate, and you can go ahead and stamp your bingo card early. As far as Aaron talking about the running game, the offense is not balanced. So, of course, you're putting too much on the shoulder of the quarterback because he's being asked to do too much. And whether you want to say that's coaching, whether you want to say that's execution, whether you want to say that's the guys in the running back room, I understand Isaiah Pacheco is hurt right now, and when he comes back, it will look different. But I'm going to blame Patrick Mahomes for falling short when we're asking him to cook, clean, and valet the cars. Of course, he's not going to be able to do everything perfectly. Like, it's just too much to ask of one guy who already has an unorthodox playing style and isn't the type of natural stay on schedule type of passer that we see across the league.
But Aaron, that's the thing. He wants everything put on his plate. And what have I told you? The coaches want that, because how else is he going to win MVP? Do you not think year in and year out that they don't want this guy to be the front runner to be the MVP? He has to put
the goal is to win the Lombardi Trophy. No, it's not to win MVP.
Aaron, you and I both know. Yes, that's the team goal. But you know that he hasn't even been in the conversation the last 2-3 years ever since he won it. Okay, it's always been Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen or whatever. And the thing is, he is not, to an extent. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't care about the individual stuff, but as a competitor, he cares about that kind of stuff. And as you said, as I said, they've never been a balanced attack because Andy Reid does not run the football like that. That's just the way it is.
Ryan, what you think?
I agree that is the historical reality. I would also say there's a saying about old dogs and new tricks. At some point, if you're going to be running something like this level of a franchise, we're not talking about, D3 college football somewhere in a farm. We're talking about the elite of the NFL. You got to be able to change your spots from time to time. It doesn't mean you have to sell out, change your philosophy. He knows how to run efficiently when the team needs to run. They're getting 4.5, almost 5 yards a clip when they ran in the first half last week, but they decided not to continue that. And I think that is a spot that you can change, at least temporarily.
JC, hop in here because we're talking Mahomes. Obviously, he's a dynamic player. He is what got you to this dynastic point of winning Lombardi trophies and always being in the mix. But 5-5, you can't be sitting on your laurels right now.
Well, I mean, they're going to go down with what got them there, right? I mean, so there's a thing about all the success they've had. It's great, but it's also, kind of, gets you in a mindset that this is the only way to do it. And this is the best way to do it. And, guys, at some point, guys get older, guys, their skills diminish. And I'm not talking about Pat. I'm just saying, period. Like Ryan said, and at some point you might have to change the way you do things. And I think they have, but I think in crunch time, they go back to the old way. We saw them one week come out. They threw a bunch of screens because they couldn't run it. They threw a bunch of screens, got people running sideways, and then they took advantage down the field. One week they got everybody involved and threw the ball to a bunch of different guys. But then when it all comes back down to crunch time, we're going to go back to what got us there. 15 running around trying to make a play. And that, it's worked in the past, but it hasn't worked, recently. And, I mean, they're not going to change in a big way. They may do a few things differently, but they are who they are.
I'm old enough to remember also at some of these end of the year press conferences that aren't filled with confetti and a Lombardi trophy, where Mahomes talks about, hey, I need to work on my mechanics. Hey, there's smaller things in the game that I can get better at. And I know that when you have so much success and there's always winning, it can kind of cloud some of those things. But here in the midst of this 5-5 stretch for Kansas City, where they're entering need to win, must win territory, despite what JC may say, I can't help but think about some of those things, some of those footwork issues and some of those fundamental issues and some of those things that we were just overlooking when times were high. Darren, go ahead and fight back on that one.
No, I was saying accuracy. I mean, I've talked about it the last few weeks. I mean, we saw his numbers against Buffalo. I think he was underwater on that one. And I mean, he threw the ball 45 times. So I mean, I'm not expecting 30, 40 or 45, but
Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, I mean, well, that was what that was something else. But yeah, but I mean, I've talked about Patrick. When he tries to throw the deep pass, he is not accurate with it. I mean, either Xavier Worthy's not as fast as people clocked him at, or Patrick is just I mean, because you shouldn't be able to overthrow Xavier Worthy if his speed is what it is.
Xavier did have the ankle thing though, and I thought the same thing for a bit too, but he did miss practice again today, so maybe he's just not 100% either.
Well, it sounds like we're all trying to get a new quarterback in Kansas City. Are we all on the same page with that?
No, that's just you.
No,
I'm out.
No. Might get some, get him some other
That's
help.
because you ain't going to the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Don't put that on Mahomes.
he want to get rid of Mahomes. He want to just hand the ball off. He want to go back to the Marty days. Why don't we sign Christian? Let's bring Christian back. Just give it to him every down. We saw how that turned out.
Absolutely not. I still believe in 15, but I do think there should be some
I'm dry
tweaks.
snitching on you Sunday. I'm gonna tell him after the game too.
That's not dry snitching. That's full snitching, Darren.
Well, that's what it is. I'm gonna tell him to tune in so he can.
I do think there needs to be some tweaks to the game plan, and Ryan Tracy agrees with me. We'll dissect that as the Chiefs enter a very pivotal matchup against the Indianapolis Colts. We'll talk about that on the other side of this break. You're listening to the Chiefs Squad Show on the Locked On Podcast Network.
I'm Cody Rourke from Locked On Broncos, and this episode is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. This is Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or you're cross-training with your favorite instructors like Alex Toussaint. It's training reimagined to make your workout more personal. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with features that help you plan, stay motivated, and hit peak performance. You can let yourself run, lift, flex, and go while Peloton handles all the rest. Plus, Peloton IQ provides real-time strength coaching, tracking your progress and suggesting weights that challenge you so you can get stronger. Plus, the new movement tracking camera, it counts your reps and corrects your form in real time, making sure every rep is safer and smarter. So let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
All right, we are back in on the Chiefs Squad Show here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Aaron Ladd, Darren Smith, Ryan Tracy, and J.C. Pearson previewing this matchup between the Chiefs and the Indianapolis Colts. A couple notes, and I mentioned this on the lead-in. The Chiefs will need to win 2 games in a 5-day stretch in order to go 7-5 and keep themselves afloat in the playoff race. Kansas City's defense currently tied for least passing touchdowns allowed so far in 2025. Only 9 allowed this season. That is tied for a league high. Ryan, you mentioned this in our chat. Maybe the game plan too narrow for Kansas City. They have one, they see red, they're tunneled in, and when that doesn't work, maybe some things get off schedule.
That's what it seems like to me on both sides of the ball, to be honest. There's expectations that the game plan always takes into account, but I feel like it's too hyper-focused in certain ways. And honestly, it's been all season. I go back to game 1 against the Chargers, right? You get Xavier hurt early, and all of a sudden it looks like the offense becomes static because they had a big plan for Xavier, right? The other night, I felt like they wanted to go to Rashid. They got some there, a couple of drops, kind of nixed that plan, and all of a sudden you're kind of standing around quivering again. I feel like the coaching staff has X, Y, or Z they want to exploit, but they don't account enough for what the opponent is going to do to remedy that. And so I just wanted to be able to shift gears a little bit. If you got to go back under center to run the ball more, great. If you got to do play action from there, which I think is even better, you got to be able to do that in a game plan without having to spend hours installing, right? There has to be a more common thread so that you're more adaptable to your opponent's looks.
I don't know if I agree with that 100%. Just because we've talked in the past about the halftime adjustments. Like you go back to the Commanders game, that Monday night game where they go in at halftime and then they come out and they just run a completely different offense, so to speak. And then they put a ton of points on the board. I think the issue with them is last week, at least, was just the penalties. Just killed them and put them behind the chains. And, you can't do that against a team like Denver, who is going to bring the house against you, and you start panicking a little bit. And now we can't run it anymore. Now we got to, try to throw the ball all the time. And, we talked about it leading up to the game that, they had to stay in front of the chains, and they just didn't do that. And I think when you do that, you're so, you get kind of stagnant because you don't want to turn the ball over. So you don't want to do too much. And now let's we throw an interception, we put our defense in a bad spot, or Mahomes gets hit and fumbles the ball, so I think they got in that game in particular may have gotten a little complacent, but I don't think adjustments all season has been that big of an issue. I think they've done a pretty good job of that coming out of the locker room.
I think the difference in those two examples is that Washington is just a bad team and Denver ain't.
But they changed their game plan.
Right.
If you look at what they did in the first half,
Kelsey got a lot more looks in the second
half.
Yeah.
They changed their game plan. So they did make an adjustments, good team or bad team, but adjustments always seem to work against the bad teams. They may have tried to make some adjustments, but if they don't work, you never notice.
I'm going to say one thing and pass it to you on this, Darren. I think, Ryan, what your point is, it really speaks to a lack of identity offensively for Kansas City. We're 12 weeks into the season, and we don't know how they really move the ball. Their plan essentially is 15, find some guys and make some plays and gets open. And when the run game doesn't work, or when a guy drops a pass, or somebody lines up offsides inevitably, I'm not going to say a name, then we start scrambling. Then we start getting behind the chain, and then it looks off schedule. Then it looks a little wonky. There's no real identity 12 weeks into the year, and it shows in the record. They're 5-5. We don't really know how we move the ball. And Darren, I don't know how you would take that as far as the game plan being narrow or them not really figuring out where they are offensively, but it's clearly an issue.
Well, I remember someone, J.C. Pearson, who once said in a press conference that Patrick Mahomes just looks back, throws down the field and says, F it, looking for one of his wide receivers. I ain't going to say who that is, Aaron Ladd, but,
you just said who it was.
Hold on, I didn't say I was just saying your name because it's on the screen. But,
now you want to change it?
They had an identity back then, though. They had an identity.
No,
they had a way of moving the ball.
It's the same thing.
It's not the same thing, JC.
But Aaron, that's my point. I'm giving you credit because that was their identity back then. This year, as you see, their identity was supposed to be explosive plays, and that's what they're not getting right now because again,
everybody got to eat. That was the identity, right? The ball spreading it around, and everybody's going to get a taste of the ball and a little bit of the action.
Well, technically, I guess if you got 10 different receivers touching the ball last week, everybody, quote unquote, did get a chance to eat.
It's a snack-sized meal, though.
I get it. Again, so now you asked me the question. I'm trying to answer for you. But I don't agree that everybody's got to eat. I don't think that was I think initially because going into the offseason and training camp, their biggest thing was making a whole bunch of explosive plays because that's what they said that they weren't able to do last year was get the ball down the field. Coming into the season, that was their main point of discussion. Like, hey, we're going to air it out. We're going to push the defense because the last couple of years, Patrick has not been able to throw the ball down the field either due to his receivers, injuries, or whatnot. So, to your point, that was what their identity was supposed to be. What it's turned out to be is something totally different.
Yeah, but you can't say when they're losing that, oh, it's this and it's that and it's bad. When they were winning those games and they were putting up 30 points a game, everybody was like, oh, they've got so many weapons and Rashid is back and now they've got Xavier and Hollywood and blah, so you can't have it both ways.
No, hold on.
I'm not saying you. I'm not saying you.
I was answering this question.
I'm saying in general, and I'm guilty too. I was saying they've got so many weapons all over. This offense is going to be this and that. And, they've got, how can you stop everybody? And, I was on that train too. And it's the same guys. It just hasn't worked out. So when they were working and it was going well, we were all on the bandwagon. But now, what do they need to do to get back to that?
Ryan, let me jump in before you do. JC, my only pushback to that, and it's not really a pushback. I still feel that, but as I've said on like some of my other shows, is that at the end of the day, it still comes down to coaching. The coaching has to put those players in position to make, to make those big plays type of, and put them in situations again, knowing that you're going against a certain type of defense, whatever. You've got to be able to call those plays. And I think, I know Nagy's on the field as well. So you really don't have somebody up in the press box or up in the sky that can see the entire field to kind of give you a general idea. So for me, right. I'm with you. No, I'm with you, JC. But also the coaching has to be much better because you got to put these players in position, and they're not doing it.
Well, I'm going to tell you like this, man. From a player standpoint, they got to win. The players got to win. You got to win your individual battles. They can call whatever they want to call, right? These guys are supposed to be that good, right? So, Hollywood's got no, listen. So Hollywood's supposed to have the third or fourth corner covering him, right? Xavier might have the second or third, right? Who's covering Trav, right? Rashid supposedly has the number one guy. Somebody's got to win. Basically, you can call whatever. Your guys are supposed to be good enough where they're going to win their individual battles. And they're
Travis
not
was the only
that.
one winning.
They're not doing
Travis
that.
was the only one winning. Yeah.
And that goes back to my earlier point. You can't let one player either be able to not win against his matchup or get hurt and derail that concept of the game. You know what I mean? If everybody got to eat is coming from the coaches, then they have enough contingencies to make sure if X, Y, or Z doesn't happen, we can go elsewhere.
Yeah, and to that point, I agree with you there. And it's built into every play, right? I mean, if you're supposed to look front side, that doesn't mean the back side can just walk around. Those guys got to win too. The problem is, and we talked about earlier, I don't think Pat has the confidence to go through his progressions. So if the first guy's covered, he's just running around. He's not coming back to 2 or looking at 3, or now I'm going to just hit the check down. And, whether it's guys are getting beat, and on the offensive line and he's feeling pressure, whatever the case may be. But, he's never been that timing guy anyway, consistently.
That's what I was going to ask you, JC, because when you say, I know they were bad teams. So, but you look at the Raiders. I mean, but even some of the other games like Detroit and the Ravens. I mean,
right?
Yes. Yeah, it was quicker. But you know what I'm saying. But even against even against the Raiders and against the Commanders, he was going through his progressions because, to your point, I think he had better line protection. I think, but everything obviously started going downhill when they took on Buffalo, because it seemed like that was a whole different team than the team that had won, 4 of the last 5 games going into the Buffalo Bills game. Go ahead, Ryan.
No, I agree with you there. There's something about that turning point that it seemed to invade the planning and the team's like on-field persona. And to your point, Aaron, if you don't know what your identity is and you get smacked around by a Buffalo Bills team that seems to have your number in the regular season, you got to come back from that bye, not just rested, but refocused on what you're going to do. And it just doesn't seem like that's there yet.
I think that everybody's got to eat, and the game plan part of the conversation also has to include the defense creating more turnovers, which is something we really haven't seen much this year, and the special teams being somewhere near special, giving us some field position, flipping the field, making a play on special teams. Like, I think, and Pat talked about this in his presser, like these 1-score games, these 1-possession games, they come down to 1 and 2 plays, and it feels like the Chiefs haven't been making those plays in those specific areas when we come to turning the ball over and it comes to special teams. That's points. That generates points. You can't, when we talk about putting so much on Pat's shoulders, I'm including that in the conversation as well. The rest of the 52-man roster making a play when it's their time to step up. Everybody's got to eat, just can't be on the offense. We know the offense is going to be up and down. Somebody else got to make a play at a certain point.
Yeah.
Well, no argument for me.
I mean, absolutely. And I think defensively, for the most part, they played well. And like you said, they've only given up 9 passing touchdowns all season, and the only running back that really had success against them was James Cook. We'll see this week, but so I think the defense has played well. They do need to take the ball away, and I'm sure they're talking about that in their meetings. But the biggest thing for this team that has been the biggest hindrance is the penalties. Whenever they've had a decent return, it comes back. Whenever they've had a decent play offensively, seem to have a penalty, pushes them back. And, I mean, that's the biggest thing, whether it's, fundamentals, whether it's focus, whether it's whatever. That's the part that has to get cleaned up to me. Is the penalties are unacceptable because you don't even give yourself a chance.
Yeah, I agree with you there because, again, I mean, at the end of the day, no matter what your game plan is, when you have 10 penalties, it just makes everything look ugly.
All right, let's do some Indianapolis Colts scout in our final two segments. We're talking Daniel Jones. We're talking Jonathan Taylor. And as the 8-2 Colts try to make a statement at Arrowhead on Sunday, we will continue our preview of that matchup on the other side of this break. You're listening to the Chiefs Squad Show on the Locked On Podcast Network. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Back in on the Chiefs Squad Show here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Aaron Ladd, Darren Smith, Ryan Tracy, and JC Pearson breaking down this AFC matchup between the Colts and the Chiefs. We're going to talk some Daniel Jones here. This was JC Pearson's idea. Indiana Jones started off the year hot. My fantasy team really appreciated this, but really has cooled off in recent weeks. I have some numbers here in front of me. 28 years old. I can't believe he's 28. Wow, it feels like he's older than that. 2,700 passing yards, 143 rushing yards, 20 combined touchdowns on the year with a passer rating of 101.6. What have you liked from Daniel Jones? And then maybe what can Kansas City exploit from the 28-year-old quarterback, JC?
Well, you can get after him and he will turn the ball over. I mean, he's been sacked, 12 times the last two games. Pittsburgh got after him, turned the ball over quite a bit. Last week, even though they won in overtime against Atlanta, still turned the ball over, but it got sacked 7 times against Atlanta, and that's with a running game, a crazy running game. So, I think if you put it on his shoulders, you got to make them one-dimensional.
Uh-oh. I think that's easier said than done, JC. We lost your mic there, but you're talking about making one of the best rushing offenses in all of the NFL one-dimensional. I think another piece that makes that interesting is Daniel Jones's ability to run the ball. He's got 5 rushing touchdowns.
We hear you, JC. We hear you. Go ahead, JC.
Now, am I back? You hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Ryan. Appreciate you, bro. But I mean, look at what Pittsburgh did. They made them one-dimensional. They held Jonathan Taylor here, 49 yards rushing in 14, 15 attempts or whatever. So it is possible. It's not like, he's out there running like Barry Sanders. When he's hot, but you can shut them down now. And you look at the 2 games that they lost. The Chargers held them to 79 yards. So you can make them one-dimensional. put it on, I think it was the Chargers or Rams, whoever it was, put it on Daniel Jones's shoulders. And like they used to say in Minnesota, when I was in Minnesota, we're playing run on the way to the quarterback. That means everybody's getting up the field, getting in a gap, no 2 gap, and everybody's responsible for a gap, and we getting up the field and play run on the way to the quarterback. If they run it, we tackle the run. If not, we're hitting the quarterback. And so I think that's what Kansas City's got to do.
Darren, what you think?
Thing I like about Daniel Jones is that, and this goes for really players in general in the NFL, and I'm just going to throw Shedeur Sanders' name in it just only because when you look at it,
stamp the bingo card. Shedeur mentioned, yeah, there we go.
No, seriously, check it out.
4 for 99.
Yeah, 4 for 17. Better stats. You had your last game. Shut up.
Yo, come on. Yo. Did Shedeur Sanders have you on payroll or what's the deal here?
But check this out. So think about it. Daniel Jones, for some reason, not able to play well in New York his last year, of course, and they get him out. But now he's found new life with Sean Stank, with his coach in Indianapolis. Sometimes the environment, sometimes the coaching, you don't get it someplace, but you go someplace else, and now you have new life. So for me, I just think with Daniel Jones, it's just that he's playing for a coach who actually believes in him, kind of put some, put some offense around him that suits his skills. Because trust me, he can also run the football as well. There have been some games. I think the first and second game of the NFL season, Jonathan Taylor didn't get any touchdowns, and killed my parlay slips back then. So, I mean, they're just one of those. Hey.
Two stamps in one. Two stamps in one.
I'm just saying that's what it is. The thing is, man, he is so much better. And this is the Daniel Jones that people thought that they were getting coming out of college. And we're finally seeing him because there's a coach who put an offense around him that believes in his skill set. And, we're seeing the best of it right now.
Ryan, it's incredible what an offense will look like when the quarterback stays on schedule.
Yeah, it certainly helps. Although in this case, my favorite thing about Daniel Jones is you don't have to pressure him to give the ball up.
Exactly.
And that's number one. He's been clean on 7 interceptions this season. And that gives you hope, because that means it's not about his physicality and his size, and it's not about his wherewithal. And kudos to him. For him as a story arc through this league, kudos to him. But that means that you can get him with your eyes. And that means Spags can do his thing and move his defenders around, and he can give him a look and go somewhere else. And I think that plays into what this defense is designed to do and what Spags wants to do. And I think it also allows you to hopefully be able to exploit both of these tackles with a 4-man rush, maybe pepper in a 5th defender every now and then, but have some hope where your pass rush can actually get home this week.
But there's one other thing to keep in mind, Aaron. There's one thing here. So even in those 2 losses, and they could possibly lose Sunday, here's the thing. They can still put points on the board. Like, I'm looking at they have yet to score less than 20 points this season. So I mean, if anything else, you got to give them at least 20 points. You got to spot them at least 20 points in this game to where you know that you got to score more than 3 touchdowns. Because somehow, some way, whether it's Jonathan Taylor run the football or Daniel Jones throwing it, they're going to at least put up 20 points in this game if the defense doesn't show up to play. Now, they played the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they also lost to the Los Angeles Rams. But in both of those games, both those games were 27-20 losses for them. So they can put points on the board regardless of who they're playing.
JC, I want to go back to you because you said in the intro, this is not a must-win game. That's
it's a big game, but it's not a must-win because if you look back at last year, 4 of the teams that made the playoffs in the AFC had 7 losses. We're 10-7. So, we're not at that point yet. Not saying that every 10-7 team is going to make it, but it's not a must win yet.
It is a must
big win, and we need to win. But if they lose, again, like I'm saying, if they lose, just like I said last week, what do? If you call it a must win, and if they lose, what do you just cancel the rest of the season? No.
I mean, you can show up to play, but JC, every team, look, if they lose this game, if they lose this game, all 5 teams that they've lost to thus far are all up a game of them, ahead of them.
But with how many left to play? Okay, so it's not. How many?
It'll be 6 games after this.
Exactly.
Plus, hold on.
It's a big game, but it's not a must win.
Plus, you still got the Houston Texans, and they got a defense too.
Well, everybody's got a defense.
Well, the Raiders didn't have a defense that game.
I mean, the Chiefs got a defense. So what are you saying? Come on, man.
No.
I think for morale alone, this is.
JC, we got to keep it a buck. JC, they got to win.
That's what I'm saying.
They'll be 5-6. This will be the first time if they lose, Patrick would have ever been sub 500 this late in his career, this late into the season.
So that means that they won't make the playoffs, or have no chance to make the playoffs.
Undertaking.
They're going to be on life support. JC, how's that?
Right. Okay.
I feel like this.
So you're saying there's a chance?
6 losses.
There's a chance. It's not a must win. Must means.
But
must means.
Either you do or you don't. Hit your parlay slip this weekend, JC. So but you at least got to play the game to, to at least give yourself a chance, don't you?
All right, let's get some order here. Ryan, you jump back in.
I was just gonna say to JC's point, like, you're right. From Yoda's standpoint, it's either do or do not, right? But at 6 losses, when you get to that tie-break scenario, that's where I fear that while they will not have lost out the season, the tie-breaks will get them. So, like, from my standpoint, in order to not have to even deal with that, you got to go win this game. And I think, honestly, that could be the leapfrog that helps them get a couple other wins against some of these teams. I'm not so scared about Houston, but there's this whole Denver thing happening again, I hate to tell you.
And the Chargers, too.
Outside of Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor, there's still some playmakers, I believe, for for Indianapolis. Tyler Warren, who's come on and has been a star, and has been a star for. Well, Kansas City's had trouble with the tight end this year, Darren. Don't act like Tyler Warren can't come in and score 2 touchdowns.
That was JC. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you guys act like the game is over. Yes, we know that. And defensively, they're good too. You know, the trade to get Sauce Gardner was huge. And then they got Charvarius coming back also. So, you know, that's going to allow them to do more things defensively. And I think that was a great pickup by them to get Sauce Gardner.
No argument. They gave up what, 2 1s?
Hey,
but for Chris, you got to make those decisions, right?
When you feel like Darren, and Aaron, that you know, they're the best team in the NFL in the last 10 years, you got to go for it, right? I mean, listen to them. The Chiefs going to get blown out. Listen to them two, Ryan. The Chiefs going to get blown out by 30.
I mean, you are what your record says.
Why I'm down here with you.
It's the average team.
JC, and that's exactly. Thank you, Darren. JC, we not haters. We just realists. We're looking at what's going on this year. They don't have an identity offensively, and the defense can't turn the ball over.
Aaron, JC's still on the payroll, so you gotta.
Hey, yeah, I'm not on the payroll.
Still on the payroll.
I'm not on the payroll, and I got shorted this week from these guys. So
don't worry. All right. We off the rails here.
Keep it real.
We off the rails here. Locked On Podcast Network Chiefs Squad Show. We're having fun here. We're really having a great time. So, not a must win, according to JC Pearson, but I do believe that the Colts still do have some playmakers outside of Jonathan Taylor and Daniel Jones. Michael Pittman Jr., Alex Pierce, Tyler Warren, a 3-headed monster as far as a test for Kansas City's secondary and their defensive backs. Ryan, you're not too sold on those guys, but these guys have had success so far this year. You think this could be a lockdown for KC on Sunday?
I'm not saying lockdown, and I agree all of them are good players. 3-headed monsters is the thing where you expect them all to perform at the same time. I just have not seen that yet. The kid Warren, he's for real. And this team has struggled against the tight end. I have not seen enough Jaden Hicks this season to make me feel comfortable about taking away any tight end at this point. So I need to see him, and he's going to make mistakes. Clearly, he's made enough that he hasn't been getting playing time. But I don't see another option that can play up to the physicality of Warren and be able to turn and run with him. So I got to see Jaden Hicks this week.
And think about it. I mean, Daniel Jones will probably play the role of Josh Allen in this game. I mean, obviously, you know, he's going to hand the ball off to Jonathan Taylor. But if they get behind, or, you know, look, and this you would think this is a game that's right for someone like Chris Jones to kind of build on what he did last week. You know, he came out of hibernation. You know, saying got a sack. Let's see whether or not he's able to do it another week. You know, I mean, that's just the way it is.
Hibernation, Darren.
Well, he was on a milk cart, so I mean, what do you want?
I bet you won't tell him that in the locker room.
I bet you I will. I bet you I will.
You was going to snitch you I will.
All right, I'll get on the payroll and come watch.
I want you to tape that and show us on Sunday. Yeah, you was going to snitch on Aaron, but okay.
Yeah.
Also, okay. Indy coming off of a bye week. We're continuing our Colts scout here in our third segment. Indy coming off a bye week. Their last time out, they played the international game against the Falcons, had the big comeback there, won in overtime. They've got this extra week. They've got the extra juice. And still reading online about what teams think and feel playing against Kansas City. People want to slay this dragon. People want to be the team that puts the final nail in the coffin that says, and obviously we don't think the Chiefs are done dynasty-wise forever, but anytime you line up against Kansas City, they have a target on their back. Coming off a bye week, there's got to be some extra juice there. Do you buy into that, JC?
Absolutely. And just just because it's Kansas City. There would be extra juice there, whether they were coming off a bye week or not. Because like you said, anytime people line up against Kansas City, and they know they're coming to Kansas City and they're playing Patrick Mahomes, and especially now, they can.
That's my bad. That's my bad. Oh, we're having some fun here on the Chief Squad show during the midweek. We will continue talking.
You looking like Mad Max over there.
Freeze again.
Yeah, got you looking like Mad Max.
That's our bosses coming in and playing with it. They heard what you had. They heard what you had to say. JC Pearson. We're gonna take one quick break here, and when we come back,
get a brother straight.
We'll talk some Jonathan Taylor. Quick break here. We'll be back on the other side. All right, fun episode here. Locked On Chief Squad show. Aaron Ladd, Darren Smith, Ryan Tracy. Might be our final episode with JC Pearson.
I wanted to Payne's Express right now. Or JC.
Hey, Ryan, you'll take me on your show, won't you?
I got you.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, thank you, man. These cats will throw you under the bus in a minute.
I tell you.
I said containing the MVP, and we were not talking about Patrick Mahomes when we say MVP. I think Jonathan Taylor, there's not a skill player in the NFL right now who's had more of an impact for his team, and the numbers bear that out. Jonathan Taylor, on average, scores a touchdown every 12 and a half rushes. He has 28 runs of 10 yards or longer, which, believe it or not, is actually second in the NFL behind Devon Achane of the Miami Dolphins. And an impressive 31% of his rushing attempts result in a first down. A couple more numbers I'll sprinkle in the rest of the segment. But there's really no way to sugarcoat it. This is one of the most dominant players in the NFL as currently sits. And it's in a run game and an offense that is high potent, whether you want to debate that or not. And Kansas City needs this win, whether it's a must win or not. How can Kansas City contain Jonathan Taylor? I'll toss it to you first, Ryan Tracy.
Just do what you do. Everybody that you've come across, 114 yards to James Cook, I can live with that. I can live with 150 yards if it isn't explosive. Where it hurts you with this particular back is he could turn it up and go at any moment. And then they're putting points on board without having to take the time of possession. If they become quick strike as you are on the passing side on the Chiefs offense, that's where I start to get nervous. But if you can buckle down, you can do what you've done to Derrick Henry over the years, other running backs this season. I feel like you can limit it enough so it doesn't break you.
Darren Smith, Jonathan Taylor currently leads the league with a 6 yards per carry average. Does that make you nervous?
Yeah, all I do is I just feed him. I'm gonna let him eat, because here's the thing. One of the things Ryan talked about is that they can, even if they score quickly on an explosive play. You know what I'm gonna do if I'm Coach Shane? I'm going to feed him, because now I'm going to work on that clock, and I'm going to keep Patrick on the sideline. Again, the Chiefs' biggest kryptonite besides themselves is the clock, because what will happen is once that clock, once they start losing time of possession, what's Andy going to start doing? He's going to have Patrick getting back, start throwing the football down the field. And what's going to happen if he ain't accurate? You stopping the clock, putting yourself in second and long, third and long, and if you're not converting, then they right back on the field. And what they're going to do? They're going to run the football. They're not going to make the kind of mistakes that the Chiefs will make from time to time, which is just keep throwing the football down the field, because you feel like you got to hurry up and score versus just running your offense. And, again, there's nothing in the NFL playbook that says that the Chiefs can't run the football or that the Chiefs can't have another 14, 17-yard drive. That is nothing said that they can't do that. That's just what they just don't. They don't like doing it.
Well, listen, all that you just said.
Huh?
I agree.
What'd you say, JC?
Ever since he said that, we were good.
Exactly. You better apologize.
Said what?
Yeah, I'm not repeating it.
What?
I'm not repeating it.
Hey, I don't know what the deal is, but ever since you said what you said. What do you think the defense and Spags is thinking? That they're going to try to feed Jonathan Taylor. So we are going to take him away, and we are going to make Daniel Jones have to beat us. So, it's not like they're coming in, saying, hey, we're going to play cover 2 and we're going to be, light in the box and we're going to let them run all over us. We're going to go up. Our number one priority is to limit Jonathan Taylor.
Hey, JC, you know what?
What?
Spags said the same thing against Buffalo, and you know what they did? They fed James Cook. Hold on. You put the question out there. I'm telling you that Buffalo did exactly what they said. They were going to run the football, keep Patrick on the sideline. I think they had the ball 40 minutes compared to the Chiefs 20 minutes. That's how you beat Kansas City.
Okay, but what Cook, like Ryan said, Cook had 114 yards. That's the first running back that has had over 100 yards in almost two seasons.
It don't matter. They beat Kansas City when it mattered most, didn't it?
Not when it mattered most. Not in the playoffs. That didn't matter most in the playoffs.
They beat them
in the regular season.
We're talking about the season.
So what won that game though? Because I would argue it was Kincaid, not Cook.
Right. So now Jonathan Taylor is going to get some plays. He's going to get some explosive plays. He's going to get some runs. But is he going to have a huge game? I don't think so. I just don't think so.
I think the fear
I hope you're right.
I think the fear specific to Spagnuolo's game plan is you almost play off his aggressiveness. He's known as being this aggressive defensive play caller who loves to send blitzes, and you know that they're going to stack the box anticipating this league-leading rusher coming in. You almost think, or in my head, I almost fear that the Colts coming off an extra week of rest and game planning kind of counteract. They already have a counter to your counter. Anytime you fight a heavyweight boxing match, there's always a counter to the counter and the move to the move, chess moves, you play ahead. That's my only fear there. But I don't know. Do we want to just go ahead and switch into picking the game? I think I know how some guys are leaning, but let's go ahead and get these officially on the record. We won't hear from Ryan until next week, the day before Thanksgiving. So let's get him officially on the record. Chiefs versus Colts. Darren, what does Vegas tell us? Because I know you tapped in over there.
Hey man, don't be trying to put me on the spot like that.
I think is it 3.5? I think Kansas City favored by 3.5.
I think it's still 3.5 minus 3.5.
Okay.
So what are you doing? Where are you going?
Hold on, man. Hold on. You go with your score first. If you watch the red eye, you already know where I went.
No,
so go ahead.
We're not doing that.
I'm just saying. So you go ahead, JC.
I didn't watch it.
Well, that's your fault. That's your fault. Probably because you on the AOL dial-up still.
All right.
JC. I'm taking Kansas City 23-17.
You try to get the rest of the
make that 23-20.
Why? Why are you taking 23-20?
Well, I just think that we are going to be able to move the ball and score some, and I just don't think they're going to put up a lot of points. I think 2 touchdowns and 2.
Darren, what you got? We got JC taking the Chiefs. Darren, what you got?
I got the Chiefs winning, man. Look, this is a must-win game. They have to win because if they don't, it's going to be hell in that locker room because they're not going to want to talk to us in the media, and they definitely not going to want to talk at the podium. But it's tough, man. Now, I don't have it as close as JC because when you go 23-20, you kind of depend on Harrison Butker. So, I don't know about that one. So I'm going to have to give them – for me, I'm going to go 27-20. Those are the games that they lost. Those are the exact scores that they lost. So I'm gonna go against my better judgment. I got the Chiefs winning 27-20.
I like the Chiefs defensive line here. I think they need to get themselves right. They got to keep pushing each other. I saw a little bit of spark. I like Charles Menhue coming out, putting out a lot of good effort last week, and I think they can build on that. And I think other than Chris Jones having to go against probably their best offensive lineman, that this is a group that they can get. And as I said earlier, the whole throwing interceptions when you're not pressured, I'm going to bank on that a little bit. But I will say, I'm not convinced on the offensive side. I think they have to come from behind in the fourth quarter. I'm going to change my Friday prediction because JC already took my numbers, but I'm going to say they come from behind and they win this game 21-17.
You know what makes me nervous about this game? It's a noon kick. That 1 o'clock kick at Arrowhead, man. That's rare. The Chiefs not used to playing at that time anymore. You know, that used to be the main slot. They not in prime time.
The only reason why I wouldn't flex is because they play on Thanksgiving. Otherwise, it'd be a night game.
I went against my better judgment last week and got bullied out of picking the Denver Broncos because I'm on a Chiefs platform. But I'm not listening to y'all this week. I'm going to look at what my eyes tell me, and I'm going to trust what my eyes tell me. And my eyes tell me that this offense cannot score touchdowns, that they're struggling to score points. I love how the predictions are starting to come down. Darren, when we first started doing this, you were saying Chiefs 32, Chiefs 30, Chiefs 29. Now you back down in the range where realism kind of lives. And this is where I'm going to go ahead and say
No. It has nothing to do with the Chiefs. It's just the Colts have lost 27-20 in both of their games. So if they're going to get their third loss, I'm just going off of that score.
Well, I'll take that same exact score and say the Indianapolis Colts scored 27 points and the Chiefs scored 20. And all hell breaks loose in the locker room as Darren Smith gets put into a headlock by Chris Jones.
Just have the camera running.
Hey, and put like this. He put in the head like if you want to, he can try. But I know one thing: he better be dressed. He better be dressed because if he try to come at me with anything else, it's gonna be some furniture moving up in that locker room.
Man, come on, man.
I'm just saying, man.
Come on,
saying, man. It's
gonna be some furniture moving. Yeah,
it's
like him flinging you around.
hey, man, you always make me curse on here.
Let's keep our checks if we could. Let's keep our checks.
Chris will be out the rest of the season. He'll be out the rest of the season. I can promise you that.
Yeah. Well, assault and battery.
Any final thoughts on the game specifically before we send our audience out of here and see them after the game?
I want to see, in all seriousness, I want to see how Andy Reid coaches this game. I mean, the last couple of weeks he's talked about running the football. Let's just see what he does. I mean, let's see if there's any changes. Yeah, let's see if it's all lip service. What he said the last couple of weeks coming out of these losses. Let's see what type of changes are actually made, and then also for the players themselves. Patrick talked about today. He said it's a must-win game, JC, whether you like it or not. That's what Patrick said today. That they're in a must-win situation. So I want to see if they play with any type of sense of urgency. So that's where I'm at.
Ryan, you go.
I like
I'm a little nervous.
I just want I like the urgency and the intensity. But I got to say, I want them to take the emotion out of it. And to your point, Darren, like, can the old dog actually display new tricks? Can you settle down and just be mercenary about this, attack their weaknesses, hammer them until they make you change, and not get emotional and not have hopes? I don't want hope. I want cold-hearted assassins out there that just go get the job done.
I want a third pass catcher. That's all I've been asking for. We know Rashee Rice. We know Travis Kelce. Who's going to be that third guy in the passing attack that helps Kansas City stay ahead of the chains, avoid some of those sloppy penalties, and hopefully find the end zone? JC Pearson, we're going to have to get your thoughts in the next episode. I'm a little too nervous to pass you the ball again. I'm sorry about that, but we had a lot of fun today. Really good episode. We appreciate y'all tapping in with us at home. The Chiefs Squad Show will be live right after the game goes to 000 for the first hour. Chris Clark will be joining us, as well as the three guys. Maybe JC will be there. We'll see. We got to get him figured out.
We got to get to do Spectrum or Google Fiber or something. You got to get up there. You got to get up that phone line, JC.
I got Spectrum. I got Spectrum. Fool. I just hope Darren Smith is well enough to join us after postgame, after getting slung around the locker room.
All right, Chris Jones gonna come to the podium with some crutches.
All right, y'all, we out of here.
Man's knee out.
We out.